Hello everyone, my name is Claire. Welcome to my channel. You may have seen some of the shorts that I've been making, but this is my first full-length video, so we will see how it goes. I'm not sure how often I'll be doing these longer videos. I do have some ideas, but just not sure how often I'll be putting them out. But if you'd like to see those when they come out, then you can go ahead and subscribe. But yeah, let's just get into the actual topic, which is my review of the Holo Taco birthstone polishes that I picked up. If I am looking off to the side, it's because that's where my notes are. But yeah, the Holo Taco birthstone collection is being restocked on Monday, December 9th. If you keep up with Holo Taco, you might know that they launched this 12-piece birthstone collection in mid-October, which is when they usually do a limited edition release for Simply Nailogical / Christine's birthday, and it sold out really fast. Like, most shades sold out within the day, some within just a few hours, and that happened because they apparently didn't expect most people to buy the whole collection. When they do limited edition releases, they, I think, want products to be available for at least a few days, you know, and this past year they've generally been pretty good at making that happen. Like, I think the Sophia collection was the last one that really sold out super fast, and that was last September. With this release, they thought that people were going to be more selective because it is such a big collection. Most Holo Taco collections are less than 8, and this one was 12, so they thought maybe people would just pick up their own birth month, Christine's polish, which was the October one, maybe a couple other favorites, but not get all 12. But that is not what happened. A lot of people picked up the full collection, and so they didn't have enough stock, and it sold out pretty fast. Holo Taco did say that the plan from the beginning was to call this release limited edition, but restock the most popular shades. But then, because so many people missed out, they decided to do a full restock of all of the polishes, and then from there they will only restock the most popular. So I hadn't started making videos yet when the full collection first came out, but I thought I would do a little review now. Hopefully it'll be up in time for the restock, give people a couple days to see it before the polishes are re-released. Full transparency, as it says in the title, I did not buy the whole birthstone collection. I try to only buy polishes that I actively want and think I'll use, and that wasn't the case for all of them, and I was just trying not to spend too much, so I got 6 of them. February, March, August, October, November, and December. So I will be showing a live swatch of each of those, and I also have some footage of wearing each polish in different lighting, both from the swatches that I did for this video, as well as when I just wore them last month. And hopefully this video is still helpful, even though I don't have every shade. And just so you know, I'm filming on a Google Pixel 4a that I've had for like 3 years, and I'm just using natural lighting, nothing fancy. So might not be the highest quality swatch videos, but I think I did okay. And also, just to note, all my swatches are over Holo Taco's long-lasting base, and they will have Mooncat's Speed Demon top coat on top, and I also have a little patch on my nail because it's broken and I'm trying to hold it together with a tea bag and nail glue. But let's get into the swatches. So going in month order, first up is the February shade Crystal Mommy. It's described as an amethyst crushed hollow with added scattered hollow and pink micro shimmer. So as you can see in the swatch video, the first coat didn't go on super smooth, but I think that was more of a me problem, still getting used to painting my nails while filming. The formula itself is easy to work with, and it really did still have decent coverage on that first coat. Crushed hollows have a somewhat jelly base, but they do get pretty opaque. So you can see in the second coat, my nail line is just about covered. With thicker coats or shorter nails, you might be able to stop there, but I am always willing to do a third coat if it'll get me a little more opacity, so that's what I did. You can kind of still see my nail line in very specific lighting, but overall I'm happy with the coverage. When this collection was announced, I was thinking I would probably end up getting the February shade because it's my partner's birth month and, you know, I like purple. And it actually ended up being one of my favorites from the collection. I really enjoy the crushed hollow finish from Holo Taco. It has a very different effect than something like a linear hollow because you're seeing all those individual tiny hollow flakes rather than that like uniform linear hollow pigment, but there's still a really nice sparkle in direct light, and I think it's still visually interesting in indirect light because you can still see those flakes, whereas a linear hollow can tend to look pretty plain in indirect light because you're only really seeing the color of the polish. I also really enjoy the color of Crystal Mommy. It's maybe a darker purple than I would expect for an amethyst, but the pink shimmer really complements it. So in bright light, you see that dark purple on the edges of the nail, and then the pink shows up as like this glow from within, and it's really seamless transition between the two colors. So I definitely do recommend this one. Next up is the March shade, Happily Ever Aqua for Aquamarine. It's described as a pale aqua linear hollow with cyan shimmer. As you can see, it's a very light color, and so it goes on pretty sheer at first, especially because it has a lot of surface area to cover on my thumb, so what's on the brush gets spread pretty thin. The second coat does help though. You can still see some nail line, I think more so than Crystal Mommy, so I went in with a third coat, and that gets it to be opaque in most lighting. I'm pretty happy with the formula of this one. I did notice some brush strokes, but those evened out pretty well as it dried. So it self-leveled well enough. March is my birth month, and I don't know if I would have gotten this polish otherwise. I can be kind of picky about shades that are between blue and green. You know, I like blue, I like green, but like teals and turquoises and aquas aren't always my thing. But that being said, I don't regret buying Happily Ever Aqua. It is closer to blue than green, which I do appreciate, and linear hollows always look amazing in the sun, plus this one has a shimmer, so it doesn't look as plain in the shade as just a standard linear hollow. I would maybe prefer a shimmer that has a little bit more contrast, but this one does shift to pink, at least, so it's still pretty nice. Skipping ahead a few months, the next shade is August's Peridon't Bother Me. It's described as a lime green shimmer with a yellow-green shift and green reflective glitters. Reflective glitters show up best under flash. They're like really obnoxious and bright when you use your camera flash, but otherwise they give a more subtle sparkle. So this is another fairly light shade that goes on a bit sheer. You can also see when that first coat dries down, those reflective glitters kind of give it a bit of a gritty texture, but the formula is still easy to work with. This is another one that I built up in 3 coats. The second coat gives decent coverage, so depending on nail length and tolerance for visible nail line, you probably could stop there, but I prefer the coverage in 3 coats. Peridon't Bother Me is one that I picked up because I like the color. I especially like that yellow shift. I love interesting greens, like I'm a fan of Holo Taco's Not Pressed, and Peridon't Bother Me is another fun one. It does also shift to teal, and I kind of wish it didn't, but maybe that's how you trick the green haters into liking it. Like I mentioned, this also has reflective glitters, which add a bit of sparkle even without flash, though I feel like it's a little more visible on camera than it is in real life. I kind of wish that Holo Taco would stop using reflective glitters that match the base color, because I feel like they're harder to see than if it was a contrasting color. Like, my first polish with reflective glitter was Holo Taco's Cool Cat Mom, and I didn't really notice them because they were blue glitters in a blue base, and there's also a pink magnetic stripe that was a lot more noticeable. And then I got Mooncat's Velociraptor, which has either light green or silver reflective glitters in a very dark green jelly base, and you can see those so much better. Like, they stand out really well even without flash, and they're just so pretty. Peridon't Bother Me, I feel like, is kind of in between those 2 examples. Like, I can see the reflective glitters, but they don't have as much of an impact as I would like, and reflective glitters make a nail polish harder to remove than something like just a shimmer. So I really feel like if you're gonna put reflective glitters in a polish, they should really be doing something. But aside from that, I do like this polish. Next up is the October polish, Birthday Brat, which is inspired by pink tourmaline, even though a lot of people wanted them to do opal. It's a hot pink frosted metal, meaning it has metallic flakes in a tinted base, and this one also has iridescent flakes and scattered hollow glitter. This one has another good formula, pretty even coverage from that first coat, but because the base is sheer, you definitely have to build up more layers of the flakes to get some opacity. So it looks pretty good in 2 coats, but again, if I can get more opacity in 3 coats, I'm gonna do 3 coats, and that makes it look opaque in most lighting conditions. I love the color of this polish, but I'm less sold on the finish. It's a frosted metal, which is a bit of a tricky formula from Holo Taco. They apparently don't photograph well, and so not everyone buys them because they're not impressed by the website listing, but then when people do try them, they often really like how they look in person. But sometimes the metallic flakes tarnish over time and the color in the bottle changes, and so it's not the same as what you purchased. So Holo Taco doesn't make a lot of them at this point, but they still make some because there is some demand. I only have one other frosted metal, Fake Date, which is from their original frosted metal collection. So I'm not super familiar with this formula, but I think kind of the original idea is that you have like those silver or other colors of metallic flakes in a tinted base, and together those flakes build up to create sort of a uniform mirror-like shine. But in Birthday Brat, there are actually 2 different colors of metallic flakes. There's silver, but also rose gold, and then there's iridescent flakes, and there's hollow glitter, so you lose some of that uniformity, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It just feels kind of busy to me. Like, it's still pretty, but I think I really just enjoy the color of this polish a lot more than the finish. The next shade is the November polish, Topaz Tears. This one has a cool brown jelly base, green gold iridescent flakes that also shift to teal, bronze shimmer, and gold scattered hollow. You'll see that I dipped back into the bottle while I was doing my first coat of this one. That's because the first time that I wore this polish and the first time that I swatched it, which I did for a YouTube short, I needed 3 coats for opacity on my thumb, but I also painted it on my other nails, and those really only needed 2 coats because they have, less surface area. So I wanted to see if I could make this a 2-coater if I did thicker coats. I didn't quite get there, but I do think this is the most opaque birthstone polish of the 6 that I have. In 3 coats, it's opaque in any lighting condition, and if you have shorter nails or do thicker coats, I bet you could get it totally opaque in 2. This is the first birthstone shade that I put on my nails when I got the polishes, which is why I have the full hand swatch, and you're not just seeing it on my thumb or as part of the skittle that I did with the other colors. I wore it in early November. It was my sister's birthday, so it seemed fitting, and I really enjoy this one. It's definitely another favorite. I have a lot of browns from Holo Taco, and this one really stands out from the group because of the iridescent flakes. I love that Holo Taco has been doing more polishes with iridescent flakes, aside from just their toppers. There's so much going on in this one, but somehow it doesn't feel busy, it feels cohesive. Like, it's just so satisfying to look at, and it has a really nice visual texture. I know browns aren't always as popular as some other colors, but I really enjoy them because I feel like the neutral color can let all of the specialty pigments shine, and that is definitely the case with this one. And last, we've got the December shade, Tanzanite Away, which I think has my favorite name of the collection. It has an indigo jelly base, red magenta micro shimmer, and blue reflective glitter, as well as some scattered hollow, I think. This is the last polish that I swatched, and my camera kept going out of focus, I think because I was losing my good lighting at like 3 in the afternoon because it's December and it gets dark early. This is another more opaque polish because it is a darker color. The first coat didn't go on super even, but again, that could have been a me problem. The formula is still easy to work with, and the coverage built up pretty nicely in 2 coats, but I did do a third, and I even dipped back into the bottle a little just to get the most opacity. Still not quite as opaque as Topaz Tears, but nearly there. Anyway, this one is super gorgeous. It's one of the last shades that was revealed in the lead up to the collection being released. But when I saw it, I was like, okay, this one might be my favorite. Lately, I've been enjoying the combination of kind of a purplish base and a reddish or orangish shimmer or flake, and this definitely falls into that category. I will say there's always a balance to be struck when it comes to the opacity of a polish and the vibrancy of a shimmer. If the base is more sheer, then the shimmer stands out more, but if you want the base to be more opaque, it can hide a little of the shimmer. With this one, I think I would have been okay with a little less opacity, just because the shimmer can kind of get lost in lower lighting. It's still really pretty though when you do see the shimmer, and the reflective glitter is nice too when it shows up, so overall it's definitely one that I enjoy. So those are all 6 of the Birthstone polishes that I have. I know people will often list their top picks from a release. For me, I don't know if I have a clear favorite, but there's more of a top 3 and a bottom 3. So in no particular order, my top picks from this release are Tanzanite Away, Topaz Tears, and Crystal Mommy, which leaves Peridon't Bother Me, Birthday Brat, and Happily Ever Aqua as the bottom 3. Not that there's anything wrong with them. If you like the colors of those polishes, I don't think you'll be disappointed. They have nice formulas, they're pretty, it just goes back to personal preference. But yeah, that is about all that I have for you. If you're curious about any of the other shades in the release, I will link some videos in the description with creators who have the whole collection. Let me know what you think of the collection down below. Were you able to pick up any of the polishes when they first came out? Are you hoping to get some of them when they restock? Are you mad that they didn't do Opal for October? Tell me all about it. And just as a reminder, these will be restocking at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, December 9th. It's hard to say how long they're going to be in stock this time, but I wouldn't be surprised if they sell quickly again, so be prepared, I guess. And yeah, I think that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!